Hey YouTube, this is Brandon with Third Rate Duelist, and come at you guys on their deck profile. So I know it's been a little bit since we've done one, so I figured we'd go ahead and showcase a deck that Gary and I kind of compiled together. Gary's in most of the testing for it, but he's going to go ahead and give me the honors of showcasing it for you guys. So it's Thunder Prank Kids, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So before we get started, I'm going to show off the cool playmat Gary got me for Christmas. I'm a big Devil May Cry fan, so this is really awesome. But start off the monsters, playing triple Roxy's, triple Lampsies, triple Dropsies, and triple Fansies. So a playset of all these is minimum, in my opinion, and we are playing a small Thunder Dragon engine, so it makes Roxy's a lot better in this deck, in my opinion. So I feel like this is the strongest variant of Prank Kids, just because you can kind of use Colossus to seal games against the meta. So that's why we chose this variant, and with Fansies being a Thunder, being able to use Thunderdark to satisfy the requirement to tag out into Colossus is really good. So, and then Roxy's just furthers all the Thunder Dragon plays. So a playset of all of the Prank Kids monsters, because they're constantly special summoning themselves off of each other whenever you fusion or link summon is necessary. And then the only Thunder Dragon monsters we're main decking is triple Thunderdark and one Hawk. Don't need any more of this, in my opinion. You're not relying on the Thunder Dragon engine to win you the games. It's just kind of a game sealer, and you can use it to further plays in some cases. So this is all you really need, in my opinion. And then we're only main decking double Ash. Deck space is really tight in this variant, and I had to find someone to play at least two of a hand trap, and Ash is the hand trap Gary and I chose, and so that's what we went with. And that's it for monsters. To start spells, triple place, and double terraforming. The downfall to this deck is that you have to open at least two monsters or a monster and an instant fusion, and so you need to max out on place and terraforming because of that. And then triple instant fusion, just because two-card combo to either do the Harpy's Feather Duster or the Raigeki on the opponent's turn is really good. And then for fusion spells, triple Poly, double Invocation, and double Pandemonium. So kind of went with the guy who won the Prank Kids player who won the last YCS, him main decking Invocation. His reasoning behind it was the fact that King of the Swamp can get called by the grave or ashed, and that can really slow you down and hurt you. And Invocation lets you just fusion summon from hand. So I can agree with that logic, because just King of the Swamp getting ashed or called by the grave and you're dead in your tracks, you have to pass turn, really sucks. So Invocation helps in that scenario. And then two, Pandemonium. I wouldn't play any less than two, but I wouldn't play a playset, because Pandemonium locks you out of the extra deck into where you can only special summon Prank Kids monsters, which kind of sucks. But you have to play at least two of this, because you need to see a fusion spell in your opening hand most of the time. So that's the ratio we went with. And then we are playing double Prank Kids Pranks. For the same reason of you have to open a way to get two monsters on the field to get your plays going. So even though you have to discard a card off Pranks to special summon a token, you can start getting your link plays going with Cockle-Doodle-Doo or whatever the Rooster, we're just call it Rooster, to get Rooster started and everything. So and also the recursion from this card in the end phase to draw a card and put Prank Kids cards back in the graveyard is really good, because once you get going, you're going to run through a lot of resources really fast. So being able to put them back in is really good. And then we are main decking Triple Call by the Grave. So the reason I opt to main deck Triple Call by the Grave is because you need your plays to go through, and this deck is pretty fragile against hand traps. So being like, if they ash place and you absolutely needed the place to go through, you're dead in your tracks and you're essentially stuck just passing to your opponent, which really blows. So we want our plays to go through, so Triple Call by the Grave. And the last spell is going to be one Gold Sark, just because Gold Sark is a one-card Colossus, and Colossus can steal some games in the current meta. And then to round off the main deck, we are playing two Plan. The reason for two Plan is because after you send one to the graveyard, you sometimes need the second one to be able to link on your opponent's turn, especially when you get to mid-game. So this deck can grind out, but when it gets to that point, it kind of sucks. So you kind of need to plan so that way you can start furthering your plays on your opponent's turn. And plus the banish effect to put all your resources back into the deck is really good. And that's it for the main deck. Now for extra, we are doing 1 Titan and double Colossus. Colossus might go down to 1, but in playtesting so far, the 1 Titan and double Colossus has been good. The second Colossus is just kind of a backup plan in case they get rid of the second one, in case they get rid of the first one. But so far this ratio seems good. And then 1 Battle Butler. You don't need any more than 1 of this. You can recycle it back off with Plan or with Pranks. So only 1 of that. And then double Rocket and double this one. The reason I opted for 2 and 2 instead of 3 of this one and 1 of this one is because I wanted the utility of being able to use this card, and I didn't want to lose a game because I only extra decked 1 of this. So that was the idea behind this. So we're still play testing this and kind of working out a little bit of the kinks, but so far these ratios have been good. And then to start with the Link monsters, 2 the Rooster and 1 Bow Wow Bark. If I do anything, I will bump Rooster up to 3 just because this is your main go-to card. This card is super good in this deck. It gets your plays going. And then you don't need any more than 1 Bow Wow Bark, in my opinion. Once you play the first one, you probably won't need to go into it again. In the playtesting I've done, I might be wrong, so take it with a grain of salt, YouTube. But so far, this seems good. Rooster might get bumped up to 3 in the future. And then lastly is 1 Rip Roaring Rooster.
Roaster.
I apologize. Heavy Storm. Harpy's Feather Duster on the opponent's turn is really, really good. And then 1 Borreload and 1 Boral Sword. These are kind of your win cons in the deck. So especially Boral Sword. You make your first play, you're after your opponent, then on your next turn you make this guy no TK your opponent. I feel like you need to extra deck both of these just because you need the Borreload for the utility and then the Boral Sword for the OTK. And then the last extra deck monster is 1 Totally Awesome. And then for side deck, double Effect Veiler and double Ogre. Veiler is really good right now because Rongo, Bongo, Turbo, or whatever is out. Don't have impermanences, so Veiler is the next best thing. And Ogre, because Ogre is decent right now in my opinion. And then double Chalice, because sometimes you need your search to go through to get plays going in this deck, and so you have an okay matchup against Thunder Dragons, but I would still opt to play the Chalice just to have a little more oomph against that deck, so that way you don't just lose because you can't search off a place. And then triple Twin Twister, because Uda back row, triple Red Reboot, because Uda back row. This card's decent in this deck because once you Red Reboot them, you're just going to Rip Roar and Roaster them and get rid of all their spells and trap cards. So even though you paid half your life, especially against Ultra-Geist, you pay half your life, they set another card, and then you just bomb all their back row, and they're essentially, they're in a very worse game state than before. So I think Red Reboot's really, really good in this deck. And then to round off the side deck is there can only be 1. So all of the Prank Kids monsters are different types, which makes this card exceptionally good. And it kind of sucks. It's good against the meta right now because Ultra-Geist are all spellcasters. So it's pretty good. And that's it for the deck profile. So like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the deck profile in the comment section below, please. And let us know what you guys want to see in the future. I know we've been kind of struggling to push out content. We all work and have adult stuff to do. So I'm trying to get back into it so that way we can start making more stuff for you guys. But later, YouTube.